Dear colleagues, good morning. We start our work and I give the floor to Minister of Defense spokesperson, Colonel Victoria Kushnir. Good morning, dear guests. I'm glad to see you here. The Minister of Defense of Ukraine, General of the Army Stepan Poltorak, has signed an order on enhancement of defense cooperation with NATO. The document is aimed to improve efficiency of cooperation in technical military field within approximation of the armed forces to NATO standards and implementation of the joint statement between Ukraine and NATO on technical cooperation in defense and NATO comprehensive assistance package for Ukraine to improve its defense capacity and implementation of Ukraine-NATO roadmap. The order of the Minister of Defense defines official and units responsible for coordination and implementation of measures of technical military cooperation, as well as guidelines on organization and control on this work. In addition, the order approves key areas of technical military cooperation with NATO. The Minister of Defense has also approved guidelines aimed to control whether the Minister of Defense and Armed Forces officials submitted their declarations as required by the law on prevention of corruption. The document was elaborated in compliance with guidelines developed by the National Agency for Prevention of Corruption. The guidelines define the united algorithm of organization of this process in the military authorities, the military units and facilities, organizations and public enterprises subject to the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. They will allow to ensure control on implementation of law on prevention of corruption and will prevent violations related to lately submission of declarations with violation of deadlines. Yesterday, the member of European Parliament, Rebecca Harms, had visited to Avdiivka. She visited areas which suffered most of all from the shelling of the Russian occupational forces. She also visited frontline positions of the armed forces of Ukraine and saw damaged houses of local civilians. The Member of Parliament said that Ukrainian soldiers who bravely protect their country from the cunning enemy are real heroes. She also stressed that the European Parliament will do everything possible to support Ukraine in its struggle against Russian aggression. Rebecca Harms documented evidence of crimes against Ukraine to pass them to the International Tribunal. International conference of this subcommittee of military police of the multinational United Coordination Committee on Defense Cooperation and Reforms started its work in Lviv. Among the participants, there are servicemen of military service of order of the armed forces of Ukraine and representatives of 8 other countries. They share their experience of training military police and discuss possibility of assistance to Ukraine in creation of training centers in Lviv and Kyiv. To ensure information to servicemen and their families on activities in the army and for explanation of current problems, the Central Press Center of the Ministry of Defense Народная Armia opens a hotline with participation of subunits of the Ministry of Defense and of the Armed Forces. On the 23rd of February at 16:00, everyone who has questions can ask them to the Director of Financial Unit of the Ministry of Defense. Call 044 489 5006 or 098 639 8858. Those who will not be able to call can ask their questions in advance and send them to the email of the press center. Further information is available at the Ministry of Defense website. Over the past week, the military engineers in the ATO zone have cleared from mines nearly 4.5 hectares of land and 62 kilometers of road in the east of Ukraine. They defused 172 explosive devices. Within comprehensive demining action in Stanitsa Luhansk region, which started on the 1st of October 2016, they examined dozens of hectares of land and defused nearly 600 units of unexploded ordnance. Since the start of the conflict in the east, the military engineers have already defused nearly 144,000 of mines and unexploded ordnance and cleared from them 2,800 hectares of land and over 950 kilometers of road in Donetsk and Lugansk regions. Military engineers communicate with local civilians and tell them how to behave with unexploded ordnance. Thank you for your attention. The press conference is over.